Hey there friends, it's Hand Stamped with Lisa Pretto, and I have a fun fold card for you. I have maybe the easiest fun fold card ever. It's probably one of the first ones I ever learned. It is the Z fold, but super simple, super easy, but so pretty. And I'm also showcasing some new papers and some new stamp sets from this catalog that goes live on May 6th. A couple of things I want you to know before we start. May 2nd and 3rd, we are going to have double rewards. So we changed our reward system so that every single time you order, you earn free dollars. And so May 2nd and 3rd, we are doubling those. So really good time to grab anything that's on that wish list. And then May 6th, the new catalog drops. If you need a copy, please reach out to me and let me know. But the other thing that they're doing on May 6th is they are doing a starter kit special. So a starter kit special is a way for you to become a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I will tell you that the majority of the people on my team who are Stampin' Up! Demonstrators do so just for themselves. They knew they were spending enough. It's their hobby, it's their passion. They were spending enough that it made sense to get at their own personal discount. So if that's something that you're interested in, let me know. Or if you're like, gosh, I'd love to run a little business online and stamp with friends, let me know and we will talk about all the things. You can email me at handstampedwithlisa@gmail.com and I am happy to talk with you. The other thing that's going to be coming up is that May 6th, I'm also doing Julie and Friends. So my friend Julie Salva has a weekly stamping contest via YouTube. And so I will be here along with Julie and two other stampers who are very skilled. I'm going to do my best to hang with, but we're going to share with you new projects every week during the month of May, and you get to vote on your favorite one. So make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss those, because they're starting next week and it's going to be really fun. All right, let me scoot over and show you the project that we're going to make today. So this is our project. It is a Z fold. Right? So it looks so impressive and it's so beautiful. I mean, can we have a moment for this designer series paper found in the new catalog that is launching on May 6th? So darling, so simple. That is what I love. A lot of bang for your buck. So let me show you what we're going to do with this. So we are going to start with a piece of old olive cardstock and we are going to score. So when we score, big thing I want you to remember is take that cutting blade, park it at the bottom. We don't need to be cutting on accident. We have all done that and it is not fun. So we're going to take this and we're just going to score it in half. So that would be 4 1/4, right? So we're going to score it there. This is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, so 4 1/4. Did you see I almost cut? Honest to Pete. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to cut at 2 1/8. So I'm going to get my little fella right in there, 2 1/8, and I'm going to score there as well. That is the trickiest part of this whole card. So what we're going to do now is we are going to fold. Bone folder works really well for folding, but know that any type, like yesterday I was stamping and I had my bone folder at a different table and I was like, oh look, there's a screwdriver. Why I had a screwdriver on my table, one will never know. But we're just going to take those and we're just going to make sure that they sit nice and flat. And so what you can see there is that is the trick. We just took that front panel and folded it back on itself. So it's going to open like this. So what we need to do now is we need to put that card together. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is I have a piece of basic white and this has been trimmed since just a smidge smaller. So 4 by 5 1/4, so it will lay really nicely in there. So we're going to lay that piece down first. We'll put that right in there, nice and neat. And then we're going to take our designer series paper. Now I cut this paper, it's 2 inches by 5 1/4, so that will sit perfectly right on there. And you can see one is the beautiful floral, the other one is this really lovely kind of crosshatch feeling. And so we're going to put this green one right inside there. So we're just going to take our snail. Oh, so sorry for this beautiful DSP that is playing back up on this card. All right, we're just going to layer that right in there, and then we're going to take this really pretty floral part and we're going to put a little bit of adhesive on that, and we're going to put that one on the front. I told you this is the easiest fancy fold you have ever done, letting all of the pretty DSP do the work for us. So when you fold it and then you open it, whoop, 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 right? So super cute. So next thing up, we are going to make this little embellishment. So let me talk to you about this circle. You could do a circle punch, or you could use a circle die cut and run it through the cut and emboss machine. I used the circle from Stylish Shapes. It gives you all of those great circles and squares and banners. Love this set, use it all the time. So I did that, but then what I did is I ran it through a second time with this embossing folder, with this striped embossing folder. This has been one of my new go-tos. I love these stripes because you can do them diagonally, you can have them horizontal, you can have them vertical, you can really play around with it, and it just adds such great texture to things. So we just took that, die cut out a circle, ran it through the machine a second time with an embossing folder. And honestly, you could use any embossing folder. I was just really partial to this striped one right now. So that is going to be the base for our sentiment. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the stamp set. I'm making one a little bit different than this one. I appreciate you because I want to use these cards, and so why not make one that I'm actually going to send. Blooming Phrase is really, really cute. It's got all of these great greetings, and then they all have this little tail on them, and so super cute. And then we've got some fun little embellishments as well. So lots of potential with this, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to use Celebrate. Celebrate's always a good one, right? Because it could be a birthday, a baby, a new job, a graduation, like all of the things. So I'm just going to take this. Now, when they're long like this, one of the things that I find is that they can go on your block a little wonky. Because they're so long, they can bend a little bit. So the best thing to do, I like to do, is just sit it down with the sticky side up. And so I'm sitting it on that line so that I know it's going to go on straight, and then do that. So we're just going to take it and pull it up that way. And I'm going to use this berry burst to pull out the little bit of berry that is in that. Here we go. A little bit of berry that is in that designer series paper. So I'm just going to go ahead and ink this. All right, and then we're going to come right down here. And I want to take it a little, make sure you can see that. I'm going to take it a little bit. I don't want to put it right at the edge because I do want to add that little bow. So I'm just going to take it a little bit to the side here. And you can see that that works really, really great. So close up that ink pad so I don't set a card in it. Have you done that? Have you set a completed project right in an open ink pad? That is always just a very, very sad thing to do. So first thing we need to do is we need to trim this guy. So I'm going to put that greeting there. See where I can go here. All right, trimmed him that way. So so we've got our greeting there. And then I'm going to create a little tail on him. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my snips and I'm just going to cut it where I want it to end. And then I'm going to cut down the middle. And then I'm going to cut in on each side. That is the easiest way I've found to do this. So it looks fairly even. It doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, hand stamped is not about perfection. It's about creating something that's really fun for you. So we have that nice little greeting, and I've left myself a little bit of space here because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that little bit of white twine. So I'm going to take that twine and I'm going to come up over here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie this in a knot. So I want to make sure that it sticks, that it's really nice and tight. So I've got that, and then I'm just going to give it another little knot so that it stays really nice. And I'm going to cut that guy right there. All right, and then I'm going to take this, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a little bit of back and forth with this. A little bit of back and forth. And so you can make these loops as big or as little as you want. It just depends on how big of a bow you want to create. And I'm using the word bow very, very loosely, as you can see, and then we just snip that off. So we're just going to hold that right there, and I'm going to take it back to my greeting, and I'm just going to tie those loose ends that I had tied earlier around that and give it one more knot. Put your finger in there, make sure to hold it really tight, and then do that again. All right, so we've just got that nice little flourish on the end there. I think it just is really pretty, particularly in a simple card. It's nice to have something that sits just a little bit wonky, a little bit fun. I think it gives a nice little pop to that. All right, and now we are going to put this together. So first thing up, let's go ahead and put our circle on. So big thing with the circle, it seems like it's pretty obvious, but if you put adhesive on the whole thing, your card's not going to open, right? So we want to go just on that center. Now I'm going to go with some dimensionals because I want to give it a little bit of a pop. So what I do is I take it like that. It sounds foolish, but I flip it over. It's exactly the same on the back, but don't ask me why. That makes me feel good about how I'm doing it. It wouldn't matter which side was which, but You get the idea. I think it's just a habit so that I don't ever make a mistake. And then we're just going to flip that over. It doesn't have to, these lines don't have to be straight. If you want them straight, by all means, make them straight. By putting them off a little bit, that can also be very, very interesting. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our little guy on right here. So I'm going to flip him over and give him a couple little, I don't know why it's a him, could be a her. You know, they all work. They all work, my friends. So we're just going to come back and we're going to put that on right there. So sits right like that. We're going to add a little bit of sparkle. And so I've got these gems that I'm going to use. And I like these little bit of more purpley ones, these kind of reddish purple. And so put those on. And that is our card. Really beautiful Z-fold card. Told you this was going to be super, super easy. So, my friends, that is what I have for you today. Thanks for joining me. Remember, May 6th, that catalog goes live. If you still need a copy, please reach out to me, and I will be here on that with that YouTube Julie and Friends, bringing you my best new color card. I've got some things I'm working on, so I'm excited about it. All right, my friends, make sure to subscribe, and I will talk to you soon.